Today we're going to identify proportional relationships by graphing a couple of points. So we're going to start off with a word problem. And in order to do one of these, we need to know two things. We need to know how to plot points. And then we need to be able to test points on a graph to see if they form a proportion. If you will recall, there are two things that need to be true in order for something to be a relation, to be a proportion. One is that we have to make a straight line. And two is that that straight line must pass through the origin, which is 0.00. Okay, so let's look at this word problem. As a farmer, Leroy keeps a close eye on the weather. After a few stressful weeks with no rain, Leroy was relieved when it started raining one morning. It rained steadily all day, and Leroy periodically checked to see how much rain had fallen. After 5 hours, I think I'm going to highlight it. After 5 hours, a total of 1 inch of rain had fallen. And after 10 hours, 2 inches had fallen. Okay? Now, in this relationship, X represents the amount of time in hours, and we know that usually when we're graphing rates, and in this case these are rates, that the x-axis represents the time in minutes, hours, days, etc. So our x-axis is hours along the bottom, and our y-axis represents the amount of rain in inches. And we always like to be specific. So on the x-axis, we don't just say time, we say hours. And on the y-axis, we don't just say amount, we say inches. Now, if you're being fussy, this graph should have a title, because we know that every graph should have a title. But, well, I'll tell you what, let's name it rain. Not very imaginative, but okay. So now we want to find out if this amount of rain is proportional. So what do we have to do? We're going to have to graph the 2 points. Now, let's look at the highlighted in pink one first, okay? After 5 hours, a total of 1 inch, okay? So we're going to look along the x-axis for 5, because it's 5 hours. And then we are going to go up to 1 inch, and we're going to make a point there. And then we are going to look at the next pair, and it says after 10 hours, 2 inches of rain. So I'm going to go all the way over to 10 on the x and up to 2. Now, the question is that a proportion? Well, you know what? In order to see if it is, I'm going to have to connect the points. And without moving, I'm trying to... that's pretty pathetic. However, you can see that it actually is proportional. It's a straight line, and I probably would have been better if I did this freehand. I tried kind of to use a piece of cardboard. But let's look. Does it form a straight line? Yes. Does it pass through the origin? Yes. And so according to the graph, do X and Y have a proportional relationship? And the answer would be yes. Okay, so remember, first you have to plot. Why do you only plot 2 points? Because it takes 2 points to determine a line. As soon as you have 2 points, one and only one line can pass through both of them. So let's look at another example. Thank you, IXL, for providing the problems. Isaac is passionate about, let me get my highlighter that already. Isaac is passionate about movies and dreams of going to film school. His goal for the next year is to watch every movie that won the Academy Award for Best Picture. He's already seen some of them and now plans to watch one per week until he's seen them all. It's a lot of movies. After following his plan for 1 week, Isaac has seen 4 of the best picture, so 1 week and 4 films. Okay, and let's see, let me do blue this time. After 4 weeks, he has seen 7 of them. Okay, so what did I do? I kind of color-coded our ordered pairs to make it easier for me to plot the points. Okay, and again, as you can see, our graph does not have a title. And let's best pictures. Okay, now let's see. In yellow, we'll plot that first along the bottom, 1 week. So we're going to go to the 1, and then 4 best pictures. We're going to go up to 4. And then in 4 weeks, after 4 weeks, he's done 7. So 4, and we're going to go up to 7. I can pretty much already see what's going to happen. Can you? Well, let's see. What do we have to remember? 1, it has to be a straight line. And 2, it must pass through 0, 0. Now, here's the thing about this. The 2 points determine a line, but if this were a curve, we wouldn't know it. But we're assuming, because these are the only 2 points that they've given us, that this is going to be a straight line. So that's going to be a check there. Now, let's see. I'm going to follow this. Oh, well, my freehand isn't that great either. But if I follow that and make kind of a line, we can see that this line does not pass through the origin. Okay? So, therefore, it is not proportional. Okay? And those are 2 examples of how we tell whether a relationship is proportional or not based